And we're continuing our coverage here of the shooting that occurred a little bit earlier today, around 8:30 a.m. New York time in Brooklyn, New York, just outside of Manhattan. Manhattan-bound N train. A person apparently entered that train at some point. While he was on the train, he opened a canister of some sort. Smoke began to fill that train car, and then he began shooting. That's according to the police. The police are now looking for that suspect right now. That suspect's still at large. Joining us right now to talk a little bit more about what we know and what we don't know, Nelson Vergara joining us. He's a former U.S. Marine and a former law enforcement professor and founder and CEO of the New York City-based security company 360 Protective Solutions. Nelson, I appreciate you taking the time to be with us. And before we get to your current role at 360, I would like you to put sort of your former role as a law enforcement detective on for us a bit here and give us a sense here. In this type of situation right now, what New York City police detectives are doing, what they're trying to do in order to find this suspect?
Right now, what they're doing currently is gathering as much information from eyewitnesses. They're doing video tracing. They're going to surveillance footage, starting from the endpoint, which was the unfortunate attack that occurred this morning. Just gathering that video feed and then just taking it all the way back, just tracing this person's the suspect's steps, and then just trying to figure out what basically led to this whole thing, what was the motive. But right now, as we speak, that's what they're doing right now.
You yourself awarded a Combat Cross, the New York PD's second highest medal for successfully and intelligently performing an act of extraordinary heroism, a shooting incident at that, Nelson. And I'm interested in your perspective of what more is necessary to prevent further shooting incidents. Of course, we know it's impossible for everyone to be everywhere at all times, but when you're thinking with your 360 hat on and your protective solutions, what more could be done?
Well, I think we all have to dip into, different hats here. Our solution is, it's just one part, but the community, law enforcement, politicians, everyone has to work collectively. From our standpoint, one thing is that you never stop learning, so you can always expand your knowledge, get with your local precincts. They always have some sort of civilian type of training. In addition to that, private practitioners such as myself now, we provide, active shooter survival training courses. We also do situational awareness. So it's kind of reawakening the unfortunate reality that we face now with these attacks. So that's one part of it. The other part is, law enforcement will continue to work diligently. They'll work hard. Detectives and police officers, they're working very diligently 24 hours a day to try to keep everything under control, trying to increase people's faith in law enforcement, right, and in the justice system. Well, so that's one thing that is I think it's coming from all fronts.
And Nelson, I think we all have a lot of faith in that law enforcement system, but I think when we talk about a subway system that is so sprawling, and we know that no matter how many cops you put out there, they're not always going to be able to sort of be at every station in every car at every time here. And I'm wondering if you think there are any sort of steps that can be taken to maybe ensure a little bit more safety. If it's not more officers, is it more surveillance? Is there a way to sort of ensure, or at least to, I guess, mitigate the potential of something like this happening again?
There's several. I mean, as unfortunate as these events are, New York City being one of the most highly populated cities in the world, the transit system is extremely busy. You have millions of riders traveling every day to and from their locations. Biggest thing is access control, visibility. Training, access control being, yes, you do want to have more surveillance. You want to, enforce more back checking. I know the NYPD was very active with the back checks, MTA as well. And it's just basically just continue to do that at multiple fronts, keep an eye on that. And maybe some sort of, like the police department worked in partnership with the traffic
Yeah.
division before, while it was a separate entity.
Yeah.
They both worked for the city, but they converted from the
Nelson.
brown uniforms over into the NYPD uniform.
We
Similar
want to
uniform.
thank you so much for your expertise. Nelson Vergara, of course, former U.S. Marine and law enforcement professional as well, an awarded one at that. This is Bloomberg.